These 700-pound steel barriers called archers could have been deployed on the sidewalks of New Orleans to prevent the January 1st terror attack. And the million-dollar question is, why weren't they? Great question. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I'll bring you an update on the New Orleans terror attack from January 1st carried out by Samsudeen Jabbar, driving a Ford F-150 Lightning pickup truck through a crowd of people on Bourbon Street, taking the lives of at least 15 and injuring 30 more. Now, before I get into the update, before I get into the archers and the barriers and the bollards, may all those who died rest in peace. Prayers out to the family. Those who are injured, may you get well soon, and prayers out to you and your family as well. Now, let's go back to the visual here. Let's go back to the visual. These are what you call archers. New Orleans already had these. They used them before. So the question is, if these things are effective, 700 pounds each, heavy duty, if they are effective at stopping vehicles from ramming into a street, sidewalk, or whatever, why weren't they deployed before the incident? They're deployed now. Why weren't they used before? Well, you can hear from the police chief, but in my humble opinion, this kind of falls on her. She didn't even know that these things existed. She had no idea. She didn't know that these things were there. Now, okay, if you used them before, when did you use them? Before the police chief got there? If the police chief comes to New Orleans, shouldn't you prioritize protecting some of your most important places with a lot of tourists, where it's going to be a heavy target for this kind of thing to happen? I mean, shouldn't you know that? Shouldn't that be the first order of business? Hey, where are all the tourists? How can we protect them and the locals? We're going to have a lot of crime and the violence concentrated in that one area. So what do we do to protect that? Okay, we got these things called archers. We have the levees to control the flood waters and whatnot. We got rodents. Like, how do we protect the people? That should have been the first order of business, but it was not. It was not. Now, here's a video from CNN where the chief first was explaining why the barriers they had in place didn't work. Okay, because all they did was just block off the entrance to Bourbon Street from, I think, what's that main, Canal Street? They just blocked off that entrance, but left the sidewalk open. And the sidewalk was so big, you could fit an F-150 Lightning through it, which is exactly what happened. You should have had the barriers on the sidewalk, which is where they are right now. And the competent police chief, in my humble opinion, is the reason why they weren't. That's just my humble opinion. Now, let's get to the first video. Then we got a second video in which she admits, I didn't even know they had them. Let's watch this. And of course, both videos will be in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Bourbon Street reopens as new questions surface about the safety of the New Orleans Central District. A 2019 security report recommended the safety barriers should be fixed because they, quote, didn't work.
Now look,
they were being replaced.
Okay, let's pause. You can see how these are pretty heavy. You got this heavy vehicle coming in, kind of like a cherry picker, putting it down. These are heavy. Now you see they got wheels on the back. All right, so maybe you're able to get them out of there without having this heavy vehicle. You're able to kind of move it if you need EMS or whatnot to get through to treat people. All right, so this appears to be the solution to the problem of protecting the streets from vehicles. Why weren't these things used before? Again, incompetence is the answer, in my humble opinion, but let's continue.
At the time of the attack, the city's police superintendent explained Thursday why those barriers proved ineffective.
This particular terrorist drove around onto the sidewalk and got around the hard target where he did have a car there. We had barriers.
And again, this is the police chief, Ann Kirkpatrick. She is 65 years old, if you were wondering.
Barriers there, we had officers there, and they still got around.
CNN's Lee Waldman live on the scene.
All right, so that's that. That was the first clip, right? We don't got to get into the other person. But look, here is NBC News. What you just saw with CNN, this is NBC News. New Orleans had top-of-the-line barriers to prevent car attacks, but didn't use them on New Year's. The subhead, the city bought the 700-pound steel archer barriers in 2017 and previously used them to protect crowded streets during Mardi Gras. So if you use them during Mardi Gras, why wouldn't you use it during New Year's Day, New Year's Eve celebrations? I don't understand. Let's hear from Ms. Kirkpatrick.
I am opening Bourbon Street to the public. What you see behind us is what we call hardening the target. So we have brought in heavy trucks. You will see when you go down Bourbon, you will see yellow, what we call archers, and they're along the sidewalk. And that would be to be preventive. If someone had, or if this particular terrorist went around up on the sidewalk, that's what that would do, okay? It would slow that down for anyone who thought that they could breach our targets. And so those are some of the main differences we are done in the quarter. Also, you are going to see an incredibly large presence of police. And we are, though, confident, but we want our community to feel confident and know they are confidently safe. And that's what we're going to do. So right now, I can declare to you that the Bourbon Street is open.
Chief, where did those archers come from?
Sorry?
Those yellow archers, where did they come from?
Actually, we have them. I didn't know about them, but
Didn't even know it. Yeah, we been had them. They kind of like just collecting dust in the back. But I didn't even know we had them. So yeah, I guess that's cool that we have those now. So let's go ahead and put those out there. You know what? And at this point, if I'm the chief, I'm like, okay, is there anything else? Do I need to know anything else? Is there any other important detail that you're not telling me about? Should I know more about the security measures that we have in the city that we can use effectively to protect not only the tourists, but citizens who live here?
we have them, and so we have been able now to put them out.
Unreal. I mean, I can't believe it. I didn't know we had them. Hey, we been had them for a long time. I didn't even know it. We used them before. Maybe I wasn't here, but yeah, I didn't know we had them. All right. So yeah, you can see what's going on here. They're 700-pound steel barrier certified by Department of Homeland Security, credited with preventing casualties. Similar incident last year in California at the Rose Parade. So they've been tried. They're true. You already have them. Like, you didn't have to order these. You could just get them out of storage and put them on the street. Okay, so you can see where they are right there on the sidewalk. That would have prevented the situation, because you could, all right, so look, right next to this light pole, whatever that is, let's just say, for example, this is the entrance of Bourbon Street. If you don't have the bollards that were there before, you could just put heavy vehicles right there, and then you could put the arches on the sidewalk to allow foot traffic to just kind of flow around it. So you're not going to block foot traffic, but you are going to block vehicles from being able just to ram and get through there. And if you need EMS or whatnot to get onto Bourbon Street, these I think can be moved a certain kind of way. All right. And regardless of what, you can still get a stretcher through there. It is still something that makes sense as far as being able to get medical professionals to a location on Bourbon Street. But yeah, I mean, as I close, I want to say this. This appears to be a case of incompetence to me. You already had the barriers. You've already used them before. They've been used in other places to prevent loss of life from somebody trying to ram onto them. So they work. Why not use what you already have? Oops, didn't even know we had it. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was an oversight. My bad. I'm getting kind of older. That's kind of what's going on to me. And look, if I was in charge here, she had to be fired. Others got to be fired, because I can't just say it's her fault. Okay, we have a mayor. We got a police chief. We have others who are involved with security. There could be a bunch of finger pointing, but at a certain point, somebody or some people are responsible, and all of them need to be held accountable, because this is completely inexcusable. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about this whole situation with the barriers already existing, the things that they said that they didn't have? Oh, well, he got around. He went on the sidewalk. I don't know how he did that. You know full well he could have went on the sidewalk and did what he did. You knew full well what to do to prevent that from happening. You had the materials already in the back of the house. Just bring them out to the front. I just don't really get it, man. This is incompetence from top to bottom, Point blank, period. You already had the tools. You used it before. They've been used before to start these kind of attacks. You know of the vulnerability of the quote unquote barrier that you had up. You knew the sidewalk could have been an easy entry for a vehicle because you put them on the sidewalk right here. Look, I mean, you got them on the sidewalk right here. You know what it is. Why are we trying to act like we don't know what's going on? You know exactly what's happening. You know exactly the way to prevent it from happening, but you didn't. The only thing I could think of is incompetence. It's at best, it's incompetence. At worst, it's intentional. But I don't want to go down that road. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.